Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. Welcome along. Welcome to this lovely little workshop we're going to have. Jan, good to see you. Brian, great to see you. Alex, how are you? Maria, nice to see you too. Stephen, great to see you. Thank you very much for joining. Welcome along. Okay, so today we're going to talk about lead generation. We're going to talk about this idea that everything's downstream from lead generation. If you want your business to become successful, you've got to get lots of people signaling their interest. I am talking about this from the perspective of an entrepreneur. I've built several businesses. I've actually built 7 companies from 0 to $1 million in their first 12 months, and I've built 3 companies that went to 10 million of valuation plus. I've worked with 3,500 companies over the last 12 years. I've written 4 best-selling books on entrepreneurship and marketing. And last year won Entrepreneur of the Year here in London, in the UK. And we were shortlisted last night. We didn't win, but we were shortlisted for New Technology Innovation of the Year here in the UK as well. So I want to give you a bit of a perspective that comes from basically spending a lot of time working on companies, working on growing companies. I've worked with some of the people like Jay Shetty, who invited you here today. I want to give you a bit of a behind the scenes and a bit of a perspective that comes from working on growing lots of different businesses as well. Someone's asking if the call will be recorded. Yes, it will be recorded. That's a private message. You might not see that, but yeah, it will be recorded, and we'll send out a link to everyone who was on the call. But obviously you need to be on the call to get the recording because of, we want to make sure that it's just for what it's not too, out there. Okay, so I'll give you a little bit of my background. I have been an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old. And I worked for this guy here, John, actually, from 19 to 21. And he had started a new fast growth company. This is a few years ago, 10 years ago when we first caught up. But 20 years ago, I used to work for John. He started a fast growth company. I was employee number 3, and we got to 60 employees within 2 years. And we got to about 6 million of revenue in the first 2 years. So it was a very fast growth business to go from an idea to a multi-million-dollar business in a couple of years. And it was an incredible experience to be a 19-year-old, to have a mentor who just taught me absolutely everything about launching a business and growing a business and starting a business and marketing and sales and all of those sorts of things. So I had this amazing experience where John would teach me lots of lessons, and he would really explain to me why he was doing what he was doing and, what I should learn from it. And he would share those lessons. It was an amazing experience, to be honest. But one of the main lessons that he said to me he said, this was one of the key lessons: everything is downstream from lead generation. So he talked about this idea that you could have an amazing product or service, but it doesn't matter if it's amazing product or service if you can't generate leads for that product or service. If you can't get people to signal their interest, if you can't get people to say, yeah, I'm interested to know more about that, then it doesn't matter how great you are, because everything comes downstream from lead generation. And the flip side is also true, that if you could generate hundreds and hundreds of leads per week, and every single week people are like filling in forms and signaling their interest, you can solve almost any problem after that. So you'll be able to improve the product, you'll be able to raise money, you'll be able to hire people, you'll be able to do anything you need to do, provided those warm leads are coming in. Probably the most extreme example of this would be Kylie Jenner. She had 100 million followers on Instagram, but didn't have any product or service. And then she came up with the makeup kit called Kylie, and then she launched that to her followers, and she became a billionaire by age 20 by launching this product. So she had the followers or the leads first, she had an audience, and then she obviously could launch a product. So key idea, first principle is everything's downstream from lead generation. My assumption, my default assumption, is that you've got something very valuable to offer the world. You've got something of great value that could benefit people. And the most important thing is that you generate some interest in that we get people interested, signaling their intent that they want to know more about who you are and what you do. So let me tell you about how I did the lead generation thing through my career. When I launched my first company, I was 21 years old. This is literally me at age 21. And this is a newspaper. For those of you who are a little bit younger, that there is a newspaper. It's kind of like an iPad that comes out every new day. And then there's a quarter-page ad in the in the newspaper, and that was my ad. I ran that ad. It cost me $8,000 to take out a quarter-page ad for one day, and then that was it. And I ran this ad for $8,000. And basically, if that ad did not produce leads, I had no way of paying for the ad. So I put it on my credit card. I took a huge risk, and I didn't know what would happen. And what actually happened is about 100 leads came in. People rang the phone number and they said, yep, we want to talk. And we had some sales calls, and we did $30,000 worth of sales. So I ran an $8,000 ad and $30,000 worth of sales came in. And I repeated that process 41 times in year one. And that generated $1.3 million worth of sales and $400,000 worth of profit. So it was a very successful first year in business. We then scaled to multiple cities, and that grew to a $10.7 million revenue in year three. And really what I did is I'd mastered the lead generation process. So I was really good at running the ads in the newspaper, getting people to ring the phone number, and then having a sales team who would turn those phone calls into sales. And that became a $10 million revenue business. So that lead generation process built, by the time I was 24, 25, I'd built a $10 million company. I exited that business. I went to the UK. I moved from Australia to London. And I started an entrepreneur accelerator, and I started growing it around the world. We built offices in 8 cities around the world. And we were in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Singapore, London, Birmingham, Toronto, Tampa. So we had all these different cities that we were setting up. And the way that we generated leads in that business is we would get local partners like accounting firms and law firms and design firms and anyone who was dealing with the entrepreneurial market. And we would get them to promote a big event, and everyone would turn up to the big event. We would bring our team in, and we would turn up and we'd do this amazing big show. And that would be our lead generation. We'd do that 2 to 3 times per year in each city. And as we got to 8 cities, this became out of control. So I was living and working on planes. I was traveling all the time, and it was just nonstop. We were running these big events around the world and burning everyone out, including myself. And also around that same time, I met my now wife, and we discussed starting a family. And it was like obvious that there was no way that I could continue to live this way and also become a dad. So I was sitting there going, okay, how do we solve this problem? So we started to get into the email marketing sequences. I wrote 4 books on entrepreneurship as a great way of generating leads and getting in front of people. But there was this shortcoming that I realized about my lead generation strategy. When I had learned sales from my mentor, John, he had always said, telling is not selling. Whoever's asking the questions is the one who's in control of the conversation. So you've got to ask more questions. So what I realized is that we were doing a lot of broadcast, but we weren't asking anyone any questions. So it was around that time that I saw a website called 16 Personalities. I don't know if you've ever, give me a little thumbs up if you've ever seen a personality test called 16 Personalities. So I went there and I took my personality test. But the thing that blew my mind is that they had 300 million people who had taken their personality test. And I thought, my God, is this thing run by the FBI or the CIA? How the hell, like they're collecting all this information, this data. What a database, 300 million people who have told you exactly who they are and what they're all about. You know, what an incredible thing. So I got inspired by that. And here's what I did. Oh, we've got some people sharing their personalities. I'm a campaigner, right, by the way. So my campaigning skills felt pretty natural. I'm a fish in water, you could say. What I did is I said, okay, I'm going to re-release my book, Key Person of Influence. And this time I'm going to put a special page in there that says, can you take the Key Person of Influence scorecard, fill in 40 questions. I'll give you a customized 33-page report. And that report will tell you where to focus your attention. And you're going to get more out of the book if you take the report first, if you fill in the questions first. So what happened is that people would go to this URL here, and they would go to this website, and then they would fill in their details, answer a series of yes or no assessment questions. And the assessment questions would then keep score as to how many questions they'd answered yes or no. And it would sum that up at the end with a special report that gave people an overall score and some category scores. It would then give them custom recommendations based on how they scored. And we would create a custom video so that people could see a special video based on whether they scored high, medium, or low. And then based on how people answered the questions, we would invite people to have a one-to-one conversation with the sales team. Now, when the sales team pick up the phone, rather than saying, tell me a bit about yourself, tell me what do you do, and tell me a bit about your background and all that sort of stuff, the sales team didn't need to do that because they had all this data in front of them. They could see exactly how each person had answered the questions. They could say, oh, okay, this person here, do you give talks and trainings? You answered no, let's talk about that, right? So they had all this data. So here's what a typical sales conversation started with. Hi, Chris, you took our key person of influence scorecard yesterday. Your highest score was for partnership, but your lowest score was for pitching. And I'm wondering, can we talk about how to improve that score? So you can imagine nobody says no to that. Everyone says, wow, that's pretty impressive. I want to talk to you about how to improve that score because it's based upon how I answered the questions. So suddenly we had something that was both automated and personalized. Most things that are automated are not very personal, and most things that are personal are very hard to automate. But we had created something that was both personalized and automated. So it was a pretty amazing marketing innovation. So I want to ask you a question. How many leads per month would you want in order for you to consider it to be life-changing? And when I say life-changing, I literally mean you'd probably move into a different house, you'd drive a different car, you'd holiday in different places. How many leads per month coming in would be life-changing for your business based upon what you know about your business? And when I say a lead, I mean a warm, qualified lead, someone who's filled in a scorecard, they've filled in a report that you've created, and they've basically signaled that they're interested. How many of those per month would be life-changing for you? So we've got 100 a month, 100, 25 to 35, 30, 100. A lot of people saying 100 a month. John's just 5. 15, 30, right? So here's what I'm noticing. Most of you are saying between 5 and 100. So here's the great news. Isn't that kind of mind-blowing? Just think about that. Just get present with that for a moment. 5 to 100 leads a month and your life would be changed, right? You'd have a completely different life with 5 to 100 consistent warm leads a month coming in. There's 8 billion people on the planet. There's 4.5 billion people with internet connections. There's all these, like the whole world is your oyster these days. And all you need is 5 to 100 leads per month. That's it. And that would be a life-changing amount. Most people think that they have to have 100,000 followers on Instagram, or they have to have 2 million views a month on TikTok. But actually, what you really just need is 5 to 100 warm leads per month. That's it. Not a lot of warm leads per month. So here's what happened. I was exactly the same camp as you. 100 warm leads a month, and I would have been very happy per city, right? We were in 8 cities. If I could get 100 warm leads per month in each city, that would basically be enough for the team. So what happened was far in excess of my wildest dreams, and I was very, very happy with this. We had 90,000 people take our assessment. 15 million pounds, which is about $20 million worth of sales, came in. We didn't have to change it from 2015 to 2022. We didn't even change it. It just sat there exactly as it was when we launched it. It always continued to grow year on year. It became simple. It was so simple, but hardly anyone's doing it. I sat there for 6-7 years and hardly anyone launched an assessment. Everyone's launching podcasts. Everyone launches YouTube channels. No one's launching assessments. And I thought, wow, we're onto something and no one's doing it. Takes about 1 to 2 hours to set it up and go live. Now, that's true now, but it wasn't true at the time. It took 1 to 2 weeks to set up my one, but it's now 1 to 2 hours. And then it's insanely cheap to run. Like, it's not an expensive strategy. Bearing in mind that I used to run events and they used to cost $30,000 to put on an event. We used to do 2 or 3 per city per year. So it was about $60,000 to $100,000 per city per year when we were growing through events. The other thing I'll say for me is it was life-changing. It was genuinely life-changing. I lived my life on planes, traveling around non-stop on the road. And I don't have to do that anymore, right? And that was before the pandemic. Don't have to do that so much, which I've now got 3 kids. I've got a 4-year-old, a 5-year-old, and an 8-year-old. There's no way I could be a good dad if I was still living the way that I was living back then. So essentially, we have this situation where It was a really great life-changing experience. So what happened next is that some of my clients asked me, can you build one of those for me? So Rich Lipton, he said, can I get one of those? And a friend of mine who was a DJ, who was teaching people how to be DJs, said, can I get the DJ score? A friend of mine who works with big corporates says, can I get an L&D, learning and development checkup? A friend of mine who's a life coach who helps people become fully expressed said, I want to get a fully expressed scorecard. So we started building these, and we charged about £8,000 to £12,000 in our agency to build one of these from scratch. And then after doing it for about 12 months, we thought, you know what? This is a really cool idea to make this super simple, super cheap for people. So we created ScoreApp. So ScoreApp is the smartest way to generate warm converting leads. It's an online quiz. It's an online assessment, right? Beautiful landing pages, simple questionnaires, dynamic results for people to get their results. And it's really simple, templated. And I've written a book about it called Scorecard Marketing that's just come out. So the book has just come out. We'll give you a link to get a free copy of that downloaded. So all of that became really, really powerful. We've put that all in, all of the learnings for the last 5 years, we put it into the platform, and we've basically made it as super simple as possible. Now, I just want to let you know, punchline up front, here's the punchline. At the end of this presentation, I'll give you a special link to get a completely free trial, an extended free trial, and a ton of resources to make the strategy work for you. You won't have to spend any money at all to test to see if this works for you. For some of you, this won't work, right? You won't be able to create a scorecard. You won't be able to kind of come up with a concept that sticks. Some of you are going to go, actually, a little bit of creative energy. I've figured it out. I've found something that is of interest to my people, and you'll launch one and it'll become your best lead strategy. So you'll be able to test that. And if you test it and it works, you'll pay something like $39 a month, and it'll replace your whole website and probably CRM as well. And if it doesn't work, you won't pay anything. You'll just say, it's not for me. I wasn't able to make it work, right? And there's no contracts. Even if you do decide you want to pay, there's no contracts. You can actually just cancel it at any time if it ever stops working. So that's the big punchline. That at the end of the presentation, I'll give you a link so you can do an extended free trial. Since we launched ScoreApp, some pretty cool people are starting to use it. You may be familiar with this guy here, Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty and his team have launched some scorecards. You would have seen him promoting them on his Instagram page, where he does an Instagram post or a story, and he asks people a question like, are you living your best life? Take the scorecard and find out. Are you following your passion? Take the scorecard and find out. Would you make a great coach? Take the scorecard and find out. So he does that as a story. He blows up our system, by the way. Every time he does this, we have to kind of ask him to warn us. Behind the scenes, I can tell you what it looks like. It's thousands of people per minute taking his scorecards. It's really wild when he does it. We know, we can see this like huge spike just come streaming in. Some of you are familiar with Lewis Howe and Marie Forleo. Both have scorecards. Some of you may have come across Ali Abdaal. He's a doctor in the UK who is now a YouTuber. He's got 3.5 million followers. And rather than just having people who subscribe and view his videos, he's now learning more about his people because they're taking his scorecards and his tests. So he's getting all this relevant data about each one of his people who's following him. We've got coaches, we've got speakers, we've got construction businesses, healthcare businesses, all of that sort of stuff. So lots of different people. So here's a few things we've learned. What I'd like to do is in the next part of the presentation, there's 2 parts of the presentation to come. I'm going to share with you what we learned about why scorecards work and how to make them work. And I want to share with you a bit of the buying psychology that makes scorecards effective. And then second to that, I want to share with you technically what are some of the things you need to do to get your scorecard set up so you can generate warm leads on pretty much on autopilot. So we'll talk about the soft skills, and then we'll talk about the setup skills. Okay, so here's what we learned. We learned that people love taking scorecards. And here's a few things. Number one, we know from working with lots of people that people buy to resolve tension. So think about it like this. The reason people buy anything is because they have a current reality that's less than perfect, they have a desired reality as to what they would like to experience at some point in the future. And then they have a whole bunch of things that have to happen in order for that to happen, right? So what you'd call obstacles or criteria, things that have to happen along the way. So if you think about it like this, the reason somebody's going to buy from you is because their current reality doesn't match their desired reality, and they have obstacles and criteria that they're trying to overcome. And essentially, if you get someone really clear about their current reality, their desired reality, and their obstacles in the way, then they've experienced a moment of tension. And that tension is the realization that they want to go from point A to point B, and they want to overcome these obstacles and criteria. Now, you need all three of those things for people to experience tension, because if they think they've already got their desired reality and their current reality and their desired reality match, there's no tension. Or if they think that there's no obstacles and criteria in the way, there's nothing in the way, then they'll just simply say, I'll do it on my own, right? There's no need to buy anything. I'll just do this thing. So you need all 3 points, like a bow and arrow. You need the 3 points. You need the top part, the bottom part, and the pull. That's what creates the tension. So what's really nice about this is that we know that scorecards are amazing at heightening the tension. So the scorecards are really, really good at highlighting people's current reality, their desired reality, and what's in the way. So when people take a scorecard, for example, the key person of influence scorecard, it tells you you're a 4 out of 10 for pitching, you're a 3 out of 10 for publishing, you're a 7 out of 10 for products. So current reality, desired reality, and then by answering the questions, people get a sense as to all the things that they have to do to improve. So that's point number 1. People buy to resolve tension. More importantly, your people buy from you in order to resolve tension, and you have to become better at helping them highlight the points of tension. Second thing we learned, people have dormant desires. Dormant desires. So I really want to talk about this idea that there are explicit desires, things that people say that they want, and then there are dormant or latent desires, which are things that are bubbling underneath the surface. So here's an interesting idea, which is that the potential people who might buy from you fit into 2 categories. There are people who are actively searching for somebody like you. Let's say you're a leadership coach and you help companies to have better leadership and better meetings and better culture. So there might be some managers, leaders, entrepreneurs who are searching for a leadership coach. They're actually reading books. They're looking on Amazon. They're looking on Google. They're looking on Instagram. They're looking for a leadership coach. They're actively searching. And then there are people who are dormant, which means that they're not happy with the culture. They're not happy with their meetings. They're not happy with their leadership style, but they're not actively looking for a solution, right? They're just sitting on the frustration. So here's the interesting part about this. The active market is tiny in comparison with the dormant market. And secondly, as soon as somebody says that they're actively looking for something on the internet, they get swamped with solutions. So the minute somebody searches on Google, there's just so many things retargeting them and so many solutions popping up. If they go onto Amazon, there's hundreds of books. All of this stuff starts piling on top of them if they're active. But the dormant market is 100 times bigger than the active market, and nobody's targeting. So what we learned is that the big businesses, the fast growth businesses, are the ones that know how to talk to dormant as opposed to active. They know how to wake up the dormant desires as opposed to waiting until somebody is actively searching. And this is a big distinction. So how do you do this? You have to give people what we call a light bulb moment. You have to give them an insight into themselves so that they gain some new knowledge that makes them say, aha, based on that new knowledge, I'm now interested at a level that I wasn't interested before. I'm open to a solution. I'll give you a real life example. The other day I was on YouTube and I'm just looking at work-related stuff, typical stuff that I'd be looking at on YouTube. And suddenly there's this little video pops up and it says, did you know you can learn how to massively improve blues guitar in just 1 hour? And that's because if you memorize some shapes on the fretboard of the guitar, anything you play on those shapes will actually sound like blues, all right? And he basically shows you that there's these shapes on the fretboard. He says, all you have to do is memorize the shapes, and then you can play any notes within that shape, and you will actually end up with something that sounds pretty good. And he shows an example of someone who is a beginner, and then 1 hour later, they're playing really well. And I was like, wow, that can't be possible. So then I'm thinking, wow, that's a light bulb moment. I didn't realize that that was possible. So I go across to the website and I see that this is a little course that he's running, and I buy the course. So I didn't wake up the morning and say, I want blues guitar lessons. I was dormant. I had a dormant desire. I have a deep down dormant desire to play better guitar, but I wasn't looking for any solution. And then somebody came along and gave me a light bulb moment, which made me go, okay, now I'm going to buy something. So this is the key. You've got to get good at doing this. You've got to be able to turn on those lights for people and give them a little light bulb moment. Okay. The beautiful thing about scorecards is scorecards are just awesome for switching on the dormant desire. They are so good at getting people to realize, oh, wait a second, I didn't realize there was a method for this or a process for this. I didn't know what my next steps were going to be. I didn't know how far I could get in just a short space of time. So for all of those reasons, we switch on the desires. Next lesson that we got is that people have a love. They adore scoring and improving things. Now, I've seen this with my kids. If I put a height chart in the room and just basically tell them this measures your height, they can't help themselves. They run up and they just put their back up against the wall and they see how tall they are compared to their siblings. They instantly want to score themselves on this. If I put a little chart up on the fridge and I say, all right, every time you put your plate in the sink, you get a gold star. And if you get 10 gold stars, you get something special. They love that. It's like gamification. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll play the gold star game. I'll put my plates. So suddenly the behavior changes as soon as they get a sense that, oh, wait, there's a way of scoring this. Mum and dad are scoring. They've created a game out of putting the plates in the sink. So now I'm going to win the game, right? So there's this new scoring thing. So people have this innate desire to score stuff. We all do it. We all love it. I don't think any of us would watch sport if there was no scoreboard. Sport becomes very boring if nobody's keeping score. So here's how you create a game for your clients. You need to tell them three things. You need to tell them what they should be measuring. You need them to be able to quickly and easily figure out where they are today, where are they now? And you need to get them to quickly and easily understand where they could be in 3 months from now. So if they go and follow your plan and they work based on your recommendations, where could they be? Where could they get to? And that is essentially, if you give people those three parameters, it's almost impossible for them to not want to engage in that. Where are you now? What should you measure? Where are you now? Where could you be in a short space of time? Why did I buy the blues guitar thing? Because I was able to see where someone was now, where they were in 1 hour, and how fast I could potentially move in that direction. So it was like, okay, cool. So this is how we begin to create a game. So scorecards are awesome for allowing people to score and improve. Final thing I want to share with you is that great brands today and millionaires today are the ones who are very good at manufacturing demand. So in the industrial age, the millionaires were the people who knew how to manufacture supply. They knew how to create something on a production line. But today, the people who are very successful in business are very good at manufacturing demand, not supply. So for example, the people, if you see someone who's doing really, really well in business, you know that they're really good at engaging people online, getting people to fill in forms, getting people to actively engage with them. So they're able to create a production line, just like Henry Ford had a production line for cars. They create a production line for people buying things by creating a string of content and experiences online that engage people to want to know stuff. And the faster you can do that, if you can create a production line that's fast, where essentially, let's imagine I don't know Brian, and then I fill in his scorecard, I get some information, I watch a video and I go, oh, wait a second, 20 minutes later, oh, now I understand. That's a fast production line where I'm manufacturing demand at speed. Why did Henry Ford become a millionaire? Because he figured out how to manufacture supply at speed. But today it's all about manufacturing demand at speed. So we have to get good at manufacturing demand. And the great thing is scorecards are good at manufacturing demand 24/7. So those were the key messages. That was the key things that we learned when it came to creating scorecards. So part 2 of my talk is I'm going to take you through what are the 4 things you need to do in order to create a campaign: landing page, questionnaire, results, and promotion. Before I get into that, any questions about the first part that I mentioned? Feel free to put up your hand or put something in the chat. And actually, you know what would be really helpful? What's the light bulb moment that you've had so far? Just as we've run through that, what's something, an insight you've picked up so far that's been useful already? Al, let's hear from you.
Yeah, hi. I want to start this straight away, actually, because I've got an audience already. I've a massive audience. And yeah, I have never thought to go down the scorecard route to be able to get their interest. So this is
good. Al, what
incredible.
What is it you do?
I'm going to be doing ADHD coaching.
Fantastic. So you can do the ADHD assessment. Are you ready to have success with ADHD? So any of those type of assessments would work really well. Thank you so much for sharing. Brian, what was your question?
Not a question, actually. It sounds like it's very similar to coaching. As you were going through succinctly of each of those slides, the point about creating the tension, where you are and where you have to be. And coaching is much like that, where you are and where you have to be. I love the part about, which I never thought about it, about the dormant client versus the active client. And you're so right. The moment you put it in Google, you're swamped by everybody. Yeah. But it's about creating the demand. And I agree, we have so many untold desires, which again, through coaching sessions, what the client actually comes up with is never the first problem. It's always those dormant problems that are held behind the subconscious level. I mean, honestly, this is absolutely great. I agree with everything that you said, and I think it's a great fit for coaches.
Fantastic, Brian. I'll happily. Thanks for saying that. And Alex, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I definitely want to fool around with this and I want to try it out. I have some ideas of what I want to include on my particular scorecard. My question, I guess, is more along how can we, is this something that we post on our social media, or is this something that we would market to, like I'm in LA, so we'd say that I can market it to people online in LA, or do they have to be part of my already followed audience? Fantastic. So that's a great segue. I'm going to walk us through 4 steps in order to have a successful campaign. And what you've described is step number 4. So step number 1 is we need to have a landing page that engages people so that they want to take the assessment in the first place. The next thing is we have to have a questionnaire or an assessment set of questions. The third thing is we have to give people an amazing result where they learn something about themselves. And the fourth thing is we need promotion. We need people to take the scorecard. So let's go through step by step. I want you to know that at a later date, you can do this at your own time. This is going to feel really fast-paced tonight or today, wherever you are. And my job today is just to give you an overview of what's possible so that you can then fill in the blanks in your own time. And we've got a video training guide. We've got a PDF if you want to print something out and go through it on PDF. We've got a team of people who can help. We've got an online community of people who can help. And we've got lots of videos online that allow you to go through this point by point. So lots and lots of training and resources. We'll also get you a copy of my book, Scorecard Marketing, so that you've got like the overview of that in the book as well. So you can relax tonight and just kind of enjoy the overview, knowing that you'll be able to go and backfill at your own pace and put it all together. Okay, so let's go through the key things. First point is the landing page. The landing page explains to people really quickly what it is that you're going to be testing and why they want to test that. We need to hook their attention. And a landing page really only has one job. And the job is to get people to click the button that says take the quiz, right? So it's all about just take the scorecard. So here's an interesting one. This says, could you earn more money for your creative work? Take Ali Abdaal's brand income quiz and discover your score. Answer 10 questions and your results will be instantly revealed, along with hints and tips to help you understand what you need to do to maximize your creative income. So this is a creative income scorecard by Ali Abdaal, and it tells you a little bit about who he is so that you know who created this. And then it says, the more you learn, the more you earn. Take the quiz, see if you're on the desired path, right? And then you click the button and that's the landing page. So you can see it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple.
Its job is just to tell you, this is what you're going to take a quiz on. It's going to take you a minute or two to do it, right? It's free. It only takes 2 minutes, right? And that makes you go, okay, I'm interested. I'll take that. Why not? I've got a minute or two. So we use templates. We have a series of templates, and they're super simple. You just select a template and it will actually be ready to edit. We've got beautiful templates. I'll show you some in a minute. One of the things I'd like you to do as an activity when you're thinking about your scorecard is to give your scorecard a name, because products and services start to become more tangible when they have a name, like Fender Stratocaster or iPod or iPhone or iPad, it's a Rolex Submariner, right? When you give something a name, it feels more exclusive and it feels more real. So the way I want you to name your scorecard is I want you to name it based upon the desired outcome that your customer typically wants. So your customer might say something like, I really want to be ready to pitch some investors. And we go, okay, cool, let's call it the pitch ready scorecard, because that's based on what they want. Would you be ready to pitch an investor right now? Let's take a scorecard and find out. Maybe your customer says, I really want to have business growth. So you can create the business growth scorecard. Maybe your customer says, I really want to have financial clarity, so we can create the financial clarity scorecard. So this is essentially telling the customer what it is that this scorecard is about based upon the outcome that they probably want. And then we want to have a hook sentence, and the sentence that you want to have that is a powerful hook is, are you ready to blank? Are you ready to do this thing? Are you ready for? Right? And this is the hook sentence. So you want to have a big sentence that says, are you ready to run a marathon? Are you ready to increase your prices? Are you ready to sell your house? Are you ready to win an award? And then the call to action is take the blank scorecard. So you might say, are you ready to run a marathon? Take the marathon running scorecard. Are you ready to raise finance for your startup? Take the pitch ready scorecard. So the key idea here is that we want to say, are you ready to have success with MS? Take the MS scorecard. So this is helping people to understand very rapidly what it is that they're going to be scoring. You don't have to call it a scorecard. You could call it a quiz, an assessment, a test, a score, an indicator, any of those things. People will start to understand what it is. So I'm curious, what would you call yours? What would you name your scorecard? And also give me some are you ready statements in the chat. So if I was thinking about your scorecard, are you ready to blank? Take the blank scorecard would be the main hook that we would have. Let me know in the chat. What have we got here? Let's have a look here. Are you ready to deal with your unruly feelings? Take the unruly scorecard. Are you ready to unleash your full potential? Take the achieving full potential scorecard. Are you ready to build a solid nest egg for your future? Take the financial future scorecard. Are you ready to find your inner peace? Take the scorecard. Wheel of life scorecard. Are you ready to improve an aspect of your life? Are you ready to discover your true purpose? Take the true purpose scorecard. Are you ready to live your life with more calm and peace? Take the calm and peace scorecard. Or the inner peace, inner calm and peace scorecard. Are you ready to design your future? Take the scorecard. Are you ready to have a home with no clutter? Right? Take the declutter your home scorecard, or decluttered home scorecard. So you get the idea. I'm oversimplifying it for effect, but I'm just trying to give you an example that this is pretty easy, that you can communicate what it is you do pretty quickly. Once you've got that, you then start editing your page. You just kind of edit those comments there, make it your own language, put in your own photo and your own bio, and away you go. There's lots of templates to choose from. Once people click the button, the next thing that will appear is the questionnaire. So the questionnaire is essentially where people answer a series of questions. The system presents them with, do you give talks, blah, 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 yes or no? Do you do this, yes or no? On a scale of 1 to 5, answer yes or no. So it just gives them questions that pop up for them to answer. So think of this as almost like a checklist for achieving a goal. If I wanted to have a decluttered home, there might be some things you would ask me on the checklist. I'm sure our expert would know exactly what, but you might say, do you have adequate storage solutions? Do you Do you buy things that you no longer use and don't throw them away? Do you have clothing that you haven't worn for more than 2 years still in your wardrobe? So you can start asking people all these questions, and the more they're saying yes, 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 we're just starting to check those questions off, and we can then give people a score. And if they get a low score, your decluttered life score is low. We need to declutter your life so you can have a decluttered, improved experience of your home, and then we can score people on that. So once we've got that, that means we've got a very qualified lead, right? So as soon as someone fills that in, we've got a nice qualified lead. Here's a question: how many questions should you come up with? How many questions should a scorecard have? So the answer to that is, depends what you want to achieve. If you want more leads, you want to ask people 7 to 12 questions, and you want to keep it super fast, super simple. So if you're just looking for people to very quickly signal that they're interested, join your database, request a little bit more content, that would be just a first lead. So 7 to 12 questions, nice and fast, very simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Let's say, like Al, you've got a big audience already. You've got people paying attention to you already, but they're not converting. They haven't bought anything yet, and we want conversions. Now, that's a 20 to 50 question scorecard. That's going to help you to identify what it is you're going to do for them to make a sale, so that you can make a better sale. So, for example, when I work with influencers who have 100,000 followers already on social media, we focus on a conversion scorecard so that we can go from warm followers or audience into a sales conversion. And we normally get people to answer 20 to 50 questions so that we can super pinpoint exactly what it is we're going to tell people that we can do for them. And then that allows us to make more sales. So that's for conversions. The third one is pretty game changing. And I think the coaches are going to love this. The coaches, if you sign up a client and you've put all this energy into talking to them about how we're going to improve your life and we're going to do all this stuff together, on day one, they transfer you the money hits your bank account, you open up the app, there's their money, they've deposited the money, and now you've got to work with them, you've got to get stuff done with them. Here's the best thing you can possibly do. Send them through an extensive like 50 to 100 question checklist and get them to go through and answer 50 to 100 questions. Now, once they answer those 50 to 100 questions, you're going to have a complete roadmap as to what you can do to add the most value to that client. So let's say, for example, let's have a quick look in here at some of the people. So are you ready to live your life with more calm and peace? This is Mia's one. So let's say Mia signs up a coaching client and they say, yeah, I want to live my life with more calm and peace. Here's my $5,000. Let's do the calm and peace program. Let's go and do the coaching. Let's imagine Mia sends through 100 questions, and it's all about how much calm and peace do you have in your career and all the different triggers for that? How much calm and peace do you have in your relationships? How much calm and peace do you have in your health and fitness? How much calm and peace do you have in your friendship circles, right? So you go through and answer all these questions, and then it basically says, okay, we don't need to work on all these ones, but we definitely need to work on all these ones. The client, they get a initial report that says your calm and peace score today is 17%. 6 months later, after working with Mia, their score's gone up to 71%. They become a raving fan and they start telling everyone, oh, I used to be a 17%, now I'm at 71%. And they're super pumped because they've actually seen their progress. And you're super pumped because you knew exactly what buttons to push in order to make them happy. So happy client scorecards are really powerful as well. And yes, you can have multiple scorecards. We've got dozens of these things running at the moment, but I want you to think about just starting with one. Do you want more leads? Do you want more conversions? Or do you want more happy clients because you've already got lots of clients? In the chat, let me know. Do you want A, B, or C? Leads, conversions, or happy clients? Let's have a little look. Lots of leads, right? Of course. Yeah, fantastic. So most people, but a few people are saying, yeah, B's and C's, but mostly A's. That's fairly normal. We normally tick these off one at a time. Leads, bang, got that done. Conversions, let's do one there. And then happy clients, let's do one there. Very simple, lots of templates to choose from. Each template has its questions already loaded. Use these questions as a guide. Feel free to edit them, delete them. There's an edit button, there's a delete button, there's a clone button. So you can just kind of use these as a way of kind of just going through. Now, the truth is you can start with any template on any topic and you can just edit it to make it for what it is that your business is. So just kind of be a little bit creative and say, okay, what's the essence of that question? How would I ask that about my field of expertise, or what would I ask people? Okay, when people have answered the questions, the next thing they want is the results. This is the magic moment they've been waiting for. It's the difference between a survey and a scorecard. A survey, if you send someone a survey, you ask them a series of questions, and then at the end, it just says, thank you for answering the survey. They get nothing back, right? So it's a one-sided relationship. A scorecard is different. They get the big reveal. They get to get some information and some insights about themselves. So they end up seeing something like this, and it says you're doing really well on these 4 areas, but you need to improve these 2 areas. And then it's got some custom recommendations that says, here's what you scored the highest on, and here's what you scored the lowest on, and here's how to improve that. Here's how to make sure that you keep that strength. Here's how to make sure you level this up. And on the back end, it's pretty simple. We just have these little tiers, low, medium, and high, and we just edit. If someone scores low, give them this content. If they score medium, give them this content. If they score high, give them this content. So it's really, really simple. Let me show you an example. Our team recently built a scorecard for a famous celebrity on television here in the UK, a guy called Stephen Bartlett. Are you dreaming of becoming a happy, sexy millionaire? That's his new book called Happy, Sexy Millionaire. And it says, based on the learnings from his book, you're going to learn something, answer 12 questions, and we'll give you a report. So we're going to measure you on happiness. And what we did is we created 4 questions that relate to happiness. Sexiness, we created 4 questions that relate to love life and sexiness. And millionaireness or success, and we created 4 questions that relate to success. So people go through, they answer 12 questions. Some of them are yes or no. Some of them have got multiple answers. Some of them are 1 to 5. And then at the end, it says, congratulations, thanks for taking the quiz. Your overall score was 61%. And here's how you scored individually. You got this one, 76%, 29%, 76%. So we've got that there. Next step, you can buy the book, but we can actually set this up so it can present a ticket to an event, a phone call with a salesperson, a book, whatever it is you want to do. And you can present different offers based on how people score. So if someone's not quite right for your business, you might send them some content. If someone's probably going to be a good customer at some point, you could send them to a workshop. If someone's absolutely perfect, you could book a one-to-one call. So there's different ways that you can present this. Now, keep this in mind. One thing I really want you to know is that there are plenty of people who don't buy straight away. So I've analyzed my data. My company's my other company's 12 years old. The average number of days from someone entering our database to purchasing from us is 149 days. It's 5 months. So keep in mind that it's not a fail if somebody enters your database and doesn't buy straight away. Even established, successful companies kind of expect that people take a bit of time to warm up to you. So what may happen is that you may get someone who fills in a scorecard, and then you drip feed them some content for a few months, and then 3 or 4 months later, they become a sale. So you've got to play a little bit of a long game with some of your leads. Some people buy straight away. Some people take a few months to buy. Some people might buy next year for a number of reasons that have nothing to do with you. So it's not a fail. Every time you generate a lead, you're generating a little bit more of an asset for your business, because now you're growing your database. You're growing the amount of data that you have. You're growing the number of insights you have about each person, and you're getting insights about your overall customer base. So we produce these automated reports, and this helps you to make a better business as well. So for example, this is a real life example. We have one question that says, do you have well-known personalities and brands endorsing you? 74% of people said no. We know that that's an area that we can develop a product in. We can develop a workshop on how to get that solved. We wouldn't have thought about that had we not had the data to support that decision. So this is the power of data. So the only missing piece is you've got to get people to take the scorecard and that involves some promotion. You need people to take the scorecard. What we've developed is a 29-point plan for you to launch your scorecard, and there's all sorts of ways that you can get people taking your scorecard. Some of it involves your existing social media and your existing email accounts. Some of it involves advertising. You can do things with search engine optimization. You can do things with your existing website. So we've created a ton of content, how to promote your scorecard, and we've created a 29-point checklist so that it's very easy for you to go through and do all these things. When you do those 29 things, you're going to get more leads than you've ever had, right? So if each one of those things produces 1 lead per month, then you're going to get 30 leads a month coming in, or 29 leads a month coming in. It's great. It's a great way to solve the lead generation problem once and for all. Let me give you a little example of someone who promoted successfully. This is a dating website called Elite. They're a high-end consultancy where they actually, almost like a recruitment firm, they actually go and recruit you, the person of your dreams. They go and find someone who is a good fit for you romantically, and they kind of do this high-end matchmaking. Now, they charge about $8,000 per person to do this. Now, one of their strategies for the last few years is to write articles about dating, and they were getting 5,000 to 10,000 people a month viewing the articles through search engine optimization. Except when somebody hits their website, unfortunately, they didn't know who that person was. They had no way. They could just see that someone's on the website, but they don't know their name or their email or anything like that. So they created a little pop-up that says, are you elite material? Find out how eligible you are in 5 minutes. Take the free test. And this is pretty cool. I think the photo of this guy, he looks like he knows he's elite material. He's totally giving off the elite material vibes. But basically, what happened is between 50 and 80 people per day started filling in the scorecard. Now, can you imagine if you had an $8,000 product and suddenly you get 50 to 80 leads per day, not per week, per day? And imagine that you had none of those coming in, and then suddenly you turn on the tap and there's 50 to 80 people showing up every single day. So that's a pretty amazing example. We've got clients who are using Facebook ads. This is one of our accounting clients. Take the R&D tax credit assessment. This is someone who's a brand consultant. Get your free tailored brand assessment. Is your brand irresistible? So those are Facebook ads. People who do Facebook ads, they tell us that it's been game changing because rather than just getting email and name and location, they end up with all this information for about the same price. And then a lot of people are kind of like using it in their existing sales processes. This is a company called Bunkie Life. They used to run Facebook ads to promote buying a bunkie, which is a cabin. And then they said, rather than buying the cabin, let's just get you to take the scorecard called Are You Ready for the Bunkie Life? And they set up this scorecard and they doubled their revenue from 3.5 million to 7 million in 1 year, simply because people felt so much more comfortable buying a bunkie if they'd first taken the scorecard and the scorecard said that they were suitable for buying it. So by taking this little assessment, people felt way more excited that it was the right decision, and they went ahead and bought. So it doubled their conversions by actually promoting the scorecard instead of the bunkie itself. So long story short, I won't go through all 29 ways, but there's lots and lots of ways to promote, and we give you all of that information. So let's finish up. How to get started. So getting started, you need to create an account with ScoreApp. It's £29 for most businesses. So all small businesses are paying £29. Bigger businesses that have employees and want to generate 1,000 leads a month, they pay £89. In US dollars, that's about $39.99, something like that, or $35.99. So you need to create an account. I'm going to give you a link that gives you an extended 30-day free trial, so you don't have to pay until you've tested it. And then once you've got an account, you set up a template. So you select one of the templates. And then once you've selected it, it's going to give you an overview of the template, and then you just customize it. And it takes maybe an hour to customize it. And then once you've customized it, you say, yep, let's go live. You then share the link on your LinkedIn, or you share the link on your email and tell people that you've created something, and will they take it? Will they give you some feedback? So you do a little bit of testing, but pretty quickly, you've got a ready-made marketing funnel that's ready to go live. You've got a steady stream of qualified leads. and it's fun and it's free and it's available 24/7. You've got data-rich insights about every single person and your database as a whole. So here's what we'll do. Here's the link. This is available. Rebecca's already shared it. I'll share it as well. This is available for the next 24 hours. If you sign up through this link today or tomorrow, what we'll do is we'll give you some great bonuses. Number one, we want to give you a workshop called Set Up and Score. And that's where we're going to take you through some live workshops on how to really improve your scorecard. We'll have our top product developer, Lee, who's going to talk you through exactly how to improve your scorecard. She'll bring up scorecards live from people who are in the room in the Zoom call, and she'll actually showcase exactly like what changes she would make to improve it. It's a really great workshop. In the new year, I'm going to run a sales training workshop, and anyone who's a ScoreApp subscriber will be able to come for free. This is something that I normally run for $279 a ticket. You'll get 2 tickets. So you'll basically have about 500 worth of tickets. It essentially covers the cost of ScoreApp for over a year. And this is essentially a sales workshop on how we move scorecard leads into sales. And I'm going to actually give you a half-day training. It's going to be 3.5 hours talking specifically how to make sure that your conversions are really strong and that you're making more sales. We're going to invite you into our community, so you'll be able to utilize that and get live feedback. We're going to give you some books. I've got a book called Key Person of Influence, which will be about how to build your personal brand, a book on digital assets so that your business takes on a life of its own. And some of you are interested in writing your own book. We'll actually give you a copy of this book here called Book Builder, which is all about how to write your own book and publish your own book, which works really well with scorecards. So bottom line, costs you nothing to try it out. If it works, you'll now have a powerful lead magnet. You'll unlock leads and unlock bonuses, and you can switch it off at any time if it's not working for you. So it's really, really super simple. And I just want to reiterate, leads change lives. When you get lots of leads coming into your business, you're going to get lots of transformation in your life. You'll get everything starts to change when you get those warm leads. I know a lot of people who have done some personal development and some mindset shift stuff, and that's good, but there's nothing quite like having 100 people a month who want to work with you, signaling their interest for a life-changing experience. It's a very practical way. Okay, so any questions, feel free to put up your hand. And one thing I'd love to do is also show you the software and how easy it is to use. This is the portal. Essentially, it's very simple. I click on the build button, and there's my landing pages. There's my questionnaire. There's my lead form. What information am I collecting on the lead form? There's my audiences. There's my results page, right? So it's very easy to go in and just edit. I literally just touch anything, and then I just edit on the left there. If I want to add sections, I just hit the plus button, and I can just add a little section there. Or I can say, okay, I want to put in a call to action. I want to put in a testimonial. There we go. I'll put in 3 testimonials. There we go. So very, very easy to build. It's all very fun. When you want to come up with questions, it's pretty simple. You just add a question. What kind of question? Do you want sliding scale? Do you want a multiple choice button? Let's come up with a question. We just go, boom. We say, are you happy? And then we go, yes, no, sometimes. And then we can say yes gets 2 points, or 3 points, no gets no points, and we'll give 1 point for sometimes, right? So we can just create the scoring system. So it's all pretty simple there. When I go to my home screen, it shows me how many leads. You can see I did an email campaign today on this particular scorecard. Let's have a look at the data. So I'll just have a look in the last 7 days. So in the last 7 days, this campaign that we're running here, we got 638 people take the scorecard, 618 finished it. So 20 people dropped off during the questions. And I can see how people answered the questions, right? So there were 6 questions. I can see what percentage of people did that. I can see the landing page performance. I can have a look at the leads that are coming in. and see how the data looks. How did people answer the questions, right? So it's all in there. I can export all of that. I can integrate with my existing CRM systems. So it's all really nicely done. You've got access to the community and the help center. Here, let me quickly show you the templates. When you select a new scorecard, so if I click this button here called New Scorecard, brings up the templates, and I can say, oh, I want to have a look at this one or that one. Let's have a look at this one. 14 rapid questions to a better, healthier you, right? Get your personalized report, take this quiz. It says it's got 4 categories, 14 questions. So if I choose this one, I can just start immediately editing this template. Really nice and easy. This one's more me. What high risk of burning out, right? I can change that to anything I want. Are you at high risk of cybersecurity threats? Are you at high risk of losing money in business? Are you at high risk of hiring the wrong person? I can basically edit any part of this that I want. So it's all pretty simple. And if I make a mistake, I can start again. I can go back, all of that sort of stuff. You're not going to be able to break the system. It's all pretty bulletproof. If you're comfortable with things like LinkedIn or Microsoft PowerPoint, you're going to be just fine using ScoreApp. Alex, what question have you got?
I have a couple, but I did ask Rebecca in the chat, but I thought it might be good for others to hear. So I am not ready to launch my business yet, but I am sold on this product. So if I wanted to sign up today and see how it works and get some, feedback on it from, email list and social media, can I then not shut it down, but
Shut it down and then reactivate
it off
later.
and then wait until I launch my business to do it
Yeah,
fully?
you can. And here's the cool thing. So my day job, my other business is an entrepreneur accelerator. We help people launch businesses all the time. And there's actually an entrepreneurial theory as to how you should effectively launch a business. So the first step is ideation, which is coming up with lots of ideas. The next step is called minimum viable product, which is testing ideas. And then it's product market fit. So if you have business ideas, let's say, Alex, I was your coach on launching a business, I would say, let's come up with 10 ideas. Let's pick the top 3. And then what we'll do is we'll create 3 scorecards and we'll go and test the market and see which one gets the highest conversion, which one are people most interested in. We'll ask a series of questions that help us to understand what product market fit's going to look like. So this is the fastest and cheapest way to validate a proof of concept. It's one of the best ways to launch a business. You don't need a bank account. You don't need a company registration. You don't need to, go to a branding specialist or any of that stuff. You just kind of jump straight in and see if you can do some product market fit testing. If you took everything away from me, no following, no money, nothing, and I had to start from scratch, one of the first things I would do, knowing what I know now, is I'd just start testing with scorecards. That would be my very first move. It's going to give me data. It's going to give me leads. It's going to test a number of ideas really quickly. So it's going to allow me to do product market fit. Some of you are probably wrestling with 2 ideas. Maybe you're sitting there going, I'm not sure if I should be this or this. I've got 2 niches that I could campaign for. Why not take 2 scorecards and test which one? If you send 100 people to one scorecard and 18 people fill in the scorecard, and you send 100 people to another scorecard and 4 people, there's your answer. You've got 18 people who wanted this one and 4 people who want this one. Go with the one that's getting more engagement. So it's a really great way to test proof of concept. Okay, any other questions? Lanya, did you have a question? Alex, you've got your hand back up again.
Yeah. So if is there a support team that can help us set these up if we have questions? I know that you had the webinar, but I'm just wondering if we have questions, if there's a support
Multiple
team.
touch points. So we've got every month, we're now running setup and score workshops, sometimes twice a month. And those are a great way to jump on with a group. There's typically 15, 20, 30 people who are on there, and you can submit your scorecard in advance. And then Lee will bring up your scorecard and actually go through it and show you how to improve it. And that's a really easy way to do it. You can also watch the videos from all the previous ones if you want to. Or you can book a one-to-one help session. They're quick little help sessions designed around focusing on a particular problem. For some of you, you're busy, you've already got a successful business and you just want us to do it for you. We can actually do that for about £800, probably $900 US. And that allows us to just kind of, our team to go in and build one for you and customize an existing page for you. So for those of you that kind of already have a successful business and you just say, actually, can I outsource it? You can just get us to do it and we'll build it for you. And we've also got an amazing community, Alex. So you can go into our Facebook group and say, hey, I've just built my scorecard. What do you think? And our community will come back and they'll share with you any changes that they think you should adopt as well. Okay, Natalia, where can you promote the scorecard if you still haven't launched the business and don't have a social media content? So you can do things that, as I said, there's a 29-point checklist, but let's just talk about some of them. You could do a joint venture with someone who has a bit of an audience where you actually get them to promote. Maybe you pay a commission. Let me tell you a quick story. When I first arrived in London, I absolutely knew nobody. I'd never been above the equator. I arrived into London with a suitcase and a credit card as a 25-year-old, had no friends, no one I knew. The first thing I did is I hosted a private dinner party where I reached out to people on LinkedIn and I said, I'm new to London. I would like to host a private dining experience. I'm inviting the most influential people that I can get in touch with. Your name came up. Would you like to come along to my dinner? And I put together a dinner party. It had 28 people there, and I hosted this dinner party in a private dining room. And then basically, I'd only been in town for 2 weeks, right? So it took me my first 2 weeks to put together a dinner party. And then on the night, I introduced myself to the room. No one knew who I was, right? But I introduced myself. And then I went around with my diary and I booked one-to-one appointments with everyone. And I said, I'm launching my new business in London. Would you be interested in supporting our launch event? Out of 28, 26 of them agreed that they would help me with my launch. And the reason they did that is I offered them a commission for every sale. 2 weeks after that, we gave them the email campaigns. They launched the email campaigns. 2 weeks after that, we had 800 bookings, people booked into our launch campaign event. And then we grew that to about 1,600 people. And we did just under £2 million worth of business in the first 6 months. So, and then we went on to do £4 million worth of business in the first 12 months. So quite literally arriving in London with no friends, no contacts, nothing, to having £4 million, which is about $6 million worth of, or it was about $6-7 million worth of business in the first 12 months, starting with the dinner party, going to a launch. It's very, very possible to do these things. So, that's an example as to how you can launch, but there's, you can do ads, you can do joint ventures and promotions, you can do direct messages, literally just messaging people and inviting them to take your scorecard, all of those sorts of things. Elle.
Yeah, the £28 per month, is that just to be a member and to be able to use the template? Is there any hidden costs, like actually sending it out, taking the link, that type of stuff?
What I would like is that if you can send me an extra £100 a month just for me to just go out and have, friends and family dinner parties, since I'm into those dinner parties. But that's an optional extra. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. But if you want to send me an extra £100 a month, I'm all up for it. No, in all seriousness, it's just £29 a month. And that's going to give you live scorecards. You can do lots of draft scorecards. It's going to get you started. When you start getting 100 leads a month coming through, you can upgrade to the higher package, where you can then go up to 1,000 leads a month. But we really want this to be the backbone of your sales and marketing. We want this to be a cornerstone asset for your business. So we want to get you started for £29 a month, and then we're pretty confident. We see a lot of our clients go from 29 to 89 because it's working so well for them and they're ramping it up, and their business is ramping up as well. So a great place to start, 29 a month, no hidden costs, nothing else to spend. Alex, 3 for the price of 1 tonight. My goodness.
Sorry. I am definitely interested, obviously, but so what kind of information can we capture from the people that are doing this in terms of contact
Alex, I'm curious, what sort of business do you want to start?
It's a life coaching with a niche in like sober now what with people that are sober at least over a year and want to meet their goals.
So here's what we do, Alex. We select this template here, and then Scorecard says we're building your scorecard.
Hello?
Can you see my screen, Alex?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. So here we go. This is what it appears. This is your scorecard builder, and it's got videos if you want to watch the videos, and it guides you through a setup process. So I'm just going to touch the build button, and I'm going to edit the landing page to begin with. So I'm going to set up here, and I'll say, are you ready to be sober and successful? Right, and I'll say here, take this quiz to improve your success with being sober and focusing on important life goals. Right, so I've now created the first one here. So now I've got this. I can change this image if I want. I can change this. So I can just put, rather than work demands, I might change this to supportive environment. And then I'll have this one as vision for the future. And then I'll have this one, so I'll leave that as self-care and boundary setting. That's pretty cool. I like those. So now I've gone and edited the landing page. So I'm going to save that. And I could put in like the information about you, and I could put in a video of you welcoming people here and telling them a bit about yourself. These are some of the brands we've worked with. Actually, we've not worked with any brands, so I'll just delete that section. And there we go. Really nice. So there we've got it. So now once that's done, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to go to the questions. I'm going to look at some categories. So we're going to call this category here supportive environment. And I'm just going to go, okay, let's make a question here. And I'm just going to make this question. Do you have a sober friend who you can talk to when you feel the desire to drink? Boom, right? So now I've got that. So I can just start asking these questions. See how easy it is to kind of create that in those categories? So essentially, I've done 3 minutes worth of work. I'm already on my way. I can do my landing page. I can do my results page. So this is what they're going to see on the results page. I can just jump in and start editing that. They're going to have this nice little wheel of life type thing. They're going to have, you know, all of these kind of things there. So it's pretty easy. We just start editing all of that. And pretty much, Alex, within 1 hour, you're going to have a scorecard on sobriety and success, how to be sober and successful. Are you ready to be sober and successful? Take the scorecard. And now you've created an asset for your launching business, and people can start taking that. They're going to go, oh my goodness, Alex, I didn't know you've been working on this for a year. And it's like, dude, I've been working on this for an hour. I outsourced all of this to Daniel Priestley and his friends at ScoreApp, right? It was pretty easy. How's that sound?
Sounds great.
Brian, what's your question?
Daniel, first of all, this is absolutely remarkable. I'm curious that, you said you worked with some other life coaches. Are there any sort of predefined templates in your library, which, you guys must have? Obviously, you guys are data keeping. So are there any sort of custom or templates that life coaches have used and have worked successfully?
Yep.
So that's part one of my question. I'll let you answer that, and then I'll ask part two.
A lot of them are life coachy. 14 rapid questions to a better, healthier you. Can you retire confidently? Small business one. Are you ready for your big day? That's a wedding one. Discover your personal brand if it stands out. Are you ready for an interview? Discover your brand impact. What's your productivity score? Mindfulness quiz.
Yeah.
Are you ready to date again? Marketing impact. Are you ready to level up? That's a pretty, I mean, here's the thing, Brian, I will say this. Knowing what I now know, really just choose the one that you like the aesthetic of, right? So pick one that you like the look of, and then just edit it to say whatever you want. It's really super simple to edit. So you might just sit there and say, I just really like this, the look of it. It just looks good. So I'm just, rather than discover your fit for life score, I'm just going to say, are you ready to level up your life? Are you ready to improve your life? Take the life coaching score. And you're going to be able to, like, all of these things, it's super easy to edit it. If you've ever edited a slide deck, keynote, PowerPoint presentation, it's not that much different to editing a PowerPoint presentation, like a Google document or something like that. All of these are filled with little clip art, and we've got an entire built-in clip art library. So for example, if we said, you know, this clip art here, that's that image there. So I can just say, I just want to change that to a free image. I want icons, and I want one that is about a brain. So I'll just go and move that to that brain one. There we go. See how simple it is to just like, actually, I want one that is a dog. This is your dog score, you know. So these are all really super simple. You can just, you know, it's so easy to do this stuff. So yeah, Brian, a little bit of creativity. I find this really fun and addictive. I've got so many people, even Rebecca, who works in ScoreApp, who's on the chat. She will often like just create one for fun. And she's created several scorecards that are kind of like just fun scorecards because she's enjoying it. So they're quite fun to create. I've got clients who create a new scorecard every month, and every month they just edit it and change it, and they do their monthly scorecard, and they launch that out to their database. And some people take it, some people don't, and they change it the next month, and some people, you know, they relaunch it every single month.
That's great. I think you've almost answered my second question as well, which was, much like some of the other coaches, I'm getting through to the curriculum. I think hopefully by the end of this year, I would have built my own website. So I don't have anything right now. But what I'm starting to sense is I'm also not clear on my niche, and I could probably use the scorecard with, I liked how you said, if you've got 10 different segments of clients you want to go after, pick the top 3, use them as a survey, blast them out through social media. So that way, I'm almost feeling like I don't even need a website. And this is almost like understanding what their challenges are, totally, so that finally I can actually develop a MVP product for each of those 3 segments and literally learn like which one is the one that is the most burning desire.
Exactly. Look, I want to give you a better word than niche or niche. Here's a better word. It's called campaign. So rather than thinking about being niche for dentists, just campaign for dentists. Rather than being niche around happiness, campaign for happiness. So you can change the campaign every quarter. You could have a quarterly campaign focused at students, a quarterly campaign focused at doctors, a quarterly campaign focused at parents. So you can just create quarterly campaigns. So rather than thinking, like, a lot of people feel like a niche is like this set in stone thing that you've just got to like become rock solid, stuck in the niche. You never change. You invent it one time and you never change it. That's not bad if you hit a massive home run. But ultimately, people campaign for things and change it. Amazon began by campaigning for books, and then they're the everything store. Tony Robbins, the greatest life coach, you know, brand ever, he started with quit smoking and then fear of phobias as his first things that he did. And then he became a life coach more generally. Mark Zuckerberg started with Facebook was only for university students, and then he campaigned successfully for university students before broadening it out. So just think of a niche, rather than thinking about a niche as something you get stuck in, think about a campaign as something that you have an intense focus on a campaign for a period of time, and then you change, new campaign.
I love that. It's a fantastic idea.
That's why they pay me the big bucks, Brian. Okay, any other questions? Alrighty, so thank you so much for joining me on this the evening. As I've said, get yourself signed up as that free account. Do some testing. That special link that we've given you is going to give you the maximum amount of time on the free trial, and it's going to give you the maximum amount of bonuses on the free trial. So please do fill that in tonight or in the next few hours at least, and then use the next 30 days to have a play, create yourself that little MVP, and enjoy, right? You'll have a lot of fun with this. You'll actually really enjoy it. So, you know, last thing I would say is just this idea that be brave with it, right? Step outside your comfort zone, have fun with it. It's just a fun piece of technology that you can play with, and use it to make a positive impact. Use it as a way to springboard you into a bigger marketplace so that you can impact more people and impact more lives. Thank you so much. It's been great to get to know you. Stay in touch with me on social media. Please tweet me or message me that you've launched your scorecard and show it to me. I'd love to see it. I'd love to take it and fill it in and see what you've created. And I look forward to staying in touch. Hopefully I'll see you in some of the workshops that we're running for our clients, and I'll see you in the sales workshop. All the best. Talk soon. Cheers. Bye.